Barnard. How are you doing?
I'm all right, how are you?
Yes, I'm good. What are you smiling at?
I felt like you really had to concentrate there.
Oh, what if I pronounced it right?
You know, that's exactly why I'm smiling as well.
I've been pulled up for mumbling when we start.
I've been called far worse than that.
Honestly, whenever we start, it obviously starts with the guest name. And we've had all sorts of mispronunciations.
It's just the speech.
Wrong name.
His voice, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Just too
I
quick.
enjoyed that, Chris.
I did. I was conscious. It was conscious. I slowed it down. I pronunciated correctly, I felt.
For what?
Pronunciated.
To be fair, you can't really fuck a mark up, can you?
Well, we've done worse. Done worse.
Definitely done worse.
Thanks for joining
Yeah,
us.
cheers, mate.
No problem. Long time no see for you two, but saw you Sunday, didn't you?
Yeah, we had a good kick at ball, didn't we, Sunday at the comedy afternoon.
Another one we didn't get invited
Yeah,
to.
no,
Chrissy.
I didn't get an invite, did you?
When I come to the next one, 3rd of January. Right, you prick. Yeah? Been wanting to stay.
Yeah, you missed a good one.
So, did you know each other whilst during the game, or is it just afterwards the friendship has blossomed?
Just afterwards,
Just
isn't it?
after.
When the Mark started coming and playing on the golf days and...
The cricket day.
Cricket
You're our
day.
best
Yeah.
player.
Whoa.
What? Why?
Second best player.
Nah, better fielder, innit?
Yeah,
sharp in the
but
field.
You're not there to... You need
I
to
was
bat
second
ball.
best fielder because Steely was one that was stealing
Luke
it,
Steele
so
was-
diving at everything.
Yeah.
He took it seriously.
He did.
Well, that's a good crack, innit?
Very
good
good
group.
crack. Yeah, good group of lads. And I think, obviously, what you've done through lockdown, like we were saying before, has just been fantastic for everybody listening and watching the podcast that you've done with everybody coming on and listening to all the stories. It's kept people going.
Yeah.
So from my point of view, I've listened to them while I've been on bike or running or doing something away from work, and I think everything you've done with that's been fantastic.
What's been your favourite?
I'd have to say someone like Brian Dean, because I'm a big Sheffield United fan. But I think they've all been good. I think some of the ones that you'd probably not think, oh, I don't really know him or anything like that, some of them have been great.
Surprise
because it's-
package.
Yeah, stuff that you don't know, like Pat sent the other week when you did that. Brilliant. Fucking unbelievable. Listening to everything he's saying about when he first starts off in game, he's running around, his bollocks hanging off about bottom of his shorts. I'm like, it's just stuff that people want to listen to and people want to hear.
Yeah.
Okay, now I'm a bit choked up here then. We've had a compliment there. We don't get many, do we?
Well, you've been saying for a while, John, that you want some proper football guests.
Yeah, you know,
I-
we've had all the big hitters on it. No disrespect.
No disrespect.
Mark,
I'm going to
but
say what the fucking hell am I?
we've had the hitters on. The old school stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what I like.
So you started at Chef U as a young lad.
As a kid, but I didn't get took on there. But obviously being a Sheffield United fan, getting invited down there to go training, and sort of when I was 16 years old with the first team. So as a 16-year-old, you walk into your club that you support, I'm buzzing, loving it. So you walked into home dressing room. First thing I want to do is find a space to sit away from everybody, not get any shit off anybody, and just sit down and be quiet and sit in my corner. And just round as you walked in, there was a slatted bench, like the old school benches. And I thought, there's 3 spaces there, no fucker sat in it. Brilliant. Puts my bag down, didn't even look at bench, sat on it, and you know, strip lights, one of them were on the middle of it. Smashed everywhere within 30 seconds walking into the dressing room.
What did you get? Oh, the fuck's this?
Yeah, everybody just looked up like that. But the worst part about it was the side that they got then Vinnie Jones was playing from. He stood in his slips. You better clean that fucker up, son. Oh, shit. I didn't know what to do. I didn't know where to put my face, my head, anything.
So did you just fall out?
No, it was they laid it on the bench. And that's why nobody was sat there. Everybody else had seen it. And I've just walked in and thought, brilliant, somewhere to sit, straight round corner, bag down, sat.
Tell you what, they're going to lots of pieces and all them. I bet you.
Dustpan and brush for 15 minutes getting it all. Imagine that on dressing room floor with feet.
Oh dear. I can imagine your man were picking them out of your glass out your ass as well for a couple of weeks.
They're dangerous as well, though, aren't they? Is it lithium that's inside them? Like, you're not supposed to breathe it in. I'm surprised half a squad didn't go down.
Yeah.
To be fair, I'm sure that weren't at the forefront of Vinnie Jones's mind when he put the strobe lighting down. Oh, I'll tell you what, that could be dangerous, that, lads. Fucking hell.
But you just don't need it, do you? Like
No.
you say, you just want to find a little hole.
Yeah. I'm 16 years old. I'm delighted. I've had a phone call to say, come on, come down training. We're looking at you for next year for taking you on at YTS and everything like that. And you walk straight through the door into that.
How did you train?
shit myself first couple of days, when you're there, because you're training with some of these lads. And in fairness to them, old school, like you're saying, they just want to kick lumps at you at that point. They don't want you coming in and taking their place, do they? So they're just wanting to smash into you. But then obviously you find your feet a little bit, you find that you're okay, and it gradually eases off. Because at first they don't know where you play, do they? You train, you're doing a little bit of five-a-side keep ball and all that kind of stuff. Everybody's everywhere. Yeah. They can obviously see that you're left-footed at first. Hopefully they could, but you never know. But then after a bit, you just settle in a bit. But then the left-back works out that you might be coming into his spot, or centre-forward or something like that, and they're the ones that you find that want to, or used to want to try and smash you. Because they don't want you coming in.
Were you playing then? Were you defending, or were you?
No, I was up front at that point. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I could finish, but I couldn't play my back to goal. I couldn't bring everybody else in that way. I weren't strong enough for that.
It's a difficult skill, isn't it, Johnny?
It's a lot harder than what people think. Honestly, we don't get enough fucking credit, me and you, Chris.
yeah, definitely.
How was it then, being a Sheffield fan, getting released? Did it knock you for six?
Yeah, because at that point, a lot of clubs took on sort of 20, 30, 40 YTS back then. And some of them lads never even played a game at youth team for 2 years and never even played a reserve game or anything. So I hated it. Obviously, getting released from, or not even getting took on by Sheffield United, it was devastating because it's your club. But then Rotherham phoned me in, I got took on down there at YTS, and it ended up being the best thing for me because I ended up having 2 years playing in what's now Premier League at reserves, because we were playing Liverpool, Everton, Newcastle, them sort of teams who've got good sides at that point. And most of the lads who I knew, who I'd played with, never even played a game. And never even, I think might be one of them went on to play league football after that, played a game or two, 10 games, something like that. But out of them 30 or 40 that they took on, hardly any of them went anywhere because they were just in the system.
Yeah, I think a lot of clubs back then used to take them on basically for cheap labour.
Yeah.
Do you know, to do all the shit?
Numbers.
Yeah, just like...
How many lads do we need to keep this place in tip-top condition?
Yeah, to keep it clean, to keep everything running smoothly. They were probably on $27.50. It's not costing the earth.
Yeah. Painting stands, cleaning dressing rooms,
that's how it were. They weren't bothered about it. They knew that 99% of them were going to be nowhere near it, but they were good at fucking cleaning.
And there was always a lot, you're right. There used to be so many lads in our youth team.
Yeah,
too many. And then as the years, when the jobs stop, you say, we don't need them.
Yeah,
we don't need that many.
Yeah,
so you're probably right, Johnny.
Not often I'm wrong, Chris. Not often I'm wrong. So when you're going back to Sheffield, did you see anything in any of them dressing rooms where you thought, fucking hell, it might be a bit much for me, this football?
I think the only time at that point, no, not at Sheffield United, because you just got invited down for sort of 4-6 weeks in holidays, and then they were going to have a look at you. And eventually, obviously, they said, no, fair enough, made the decision. At the time, it's devastating. But when I went to Rotherham then, I was involved in it more because the youth team squad was smaller. There was always 6 or 7 of us playing at reserves, along with the lads who'd been sub on a Saturday for first team or Tuesday night. And then all the court cases started coming in, all the crap around the dressing room you could see, and the arguments that started, and the fighting and all the infighting in the dressing room that you see between the odd player now and again. Not all the time, but... And I know it was designed to bring you out of your shell, but they used to have court cases on your birthday. I got tied to stands behind goal at Millmore, and then they put all the sprinklers on, the massive sprinklers. Because I got red lines across my body where it's it. They got all office stuff out, and you're tied to...
How many did it take for get you? Did you fight?
I went home at first. Like now you talk about all this bullying and all that kind of stuff, and I'm not trying to drop anybody in shit with all this kind of stuff, but you went home, and it was designed to harden you up. It was designed to make you know that you're going to be in a serious world here where people are fighting for a living. The players in the dressing room are fighting for the living. And if you could come through it out the other side, it made you a stronger person. I mean, nowadays, you wouldn't get away with it, would you? You wouldn't do it at all. Singing in the dressing room after training. Even pros, first-year pros, when you got into that, up on the table, after you've been in the shower, naked, throwing ice at you, throwing bleach at you, throwing everything at you.
Bleach?
Throwing buckets of what they'd clean dressing room floor, just covering... It was just like sink or swim. And some nights you'd be going home thinking, can I do that again tomorrow?
Yeah.
Can I go back into that dressing room and have that crap again? So again, you wanted to just walk in, do your job, come home, train and all that. And he's like, say, even when I went into first year pro, it still went off. If you tackled one at senior pros, there'd be a court case. And it was just something for the club, and it was something that was done where if something went wrong, you sorted it out. The boot room at Millmore, you remember the pegs that used to be on for your boots? They used to knock all boots onto the floor. If you'd had a scrap, let's say me and you'd had a scrap in training, managed, right, in you go, sort it out, you've got 10 seconds. What? Straight away, you'd be shoving me into them, so you'd got all these dots and everything all over your body, and you'd just be smashing each other around this boot room. Sorted, yeah, right, don't do it again. And off you went.
It's fucking scandalous, isn't it?
And settled at that point? Or
Yeah.
it all depends on the situation. I
After
imagine, doesn't it?
it happened to you, you think it's the only person it's happening to in the world, then you see 6 or 7 others. They weren't discriminating against everybody, it just happened to everybody. So it could be somebody who's 35 coming to the end of his career, or 15, 16 just coming into youth team. Something went off, it got sorted. And one way or another it got sorted, whether it was blasting balls at people or in the boot room, or the other one was in the boot room with the boots and you're hitting each other with boots, right? Pick a boot up, off you go.
Sounds all right, lads.
This is the manager. Come on, lads, crack on.
Yeah. And boot room door, shut, light off, 10 seconds. Door open, right. Don't fucking do that again. Off you go. See you tomorrow.
What technique would you go for in the dark?
Go for a metal stud.
Would you go?
Yeah.
No,
You weren't picking rubbers up.
no rubbers.
No.
Would you? I think I might go low.
I'm leading with the head.
Oh, fucking hell.
Straight in.
Got to, haven't you? 10 seconds.
Thing is, you're not far off the pegs.
Thing is,
Whenever in the boat room you are.
if you miss that and you go into pegs because they're angled upwards,
It's a good point.
Yeah.
it's going to hurt that.
People turn their nose up at, like, when parents used to give the kids a slipper.
I know.
We're talking about metal-studded boots here. Round shops.
10 seconds. It's a long time, that, in a dark room with fucking a pair of Adidas fucking World Cup swinging at you.
Bloody hell. Were you up in court?
A few times, yeah. But just for daft stuff in training, like, obviously on Fridays, generally no tackling. Steady away, game on a Saturday, nice little five-a-side, bit of set pieces, off you go. Obviously, if somebody clattered into somebody because you're a bit over-exuberant as a youngster and that kind of stuff, then there'd be a court case and you get pulled up for it. But you got used to it. You got to know when to say something, when not to say something, and stay out of it.
Guilty as charged?
Yeah, a couple of times, yeah.
So what's the punishment there at that age?
Well, the punishment was either, obviously, up in the middle of the dressing room on the table, singing, dancing, in front of everybody where they're throwing stuff at you, and broom handles up your arse and things like that, all that kind of...
Oh, dude, can't forget that one.
Yeah. No, I can't forget that one.
I think I'm
enjoying it.
I think that's the point. Tackling like a man Fridays.
Get that mop with handle.
But I think in my first year pro, I think somebody at Sheffield United fell off the table and broke his leg, so they banned it everywhere. So it was like, it wasn't necessarily initiation, but it was more of something in the dressing room to get everybody together, get everybody doing the same sort of thing. Because you start off singing the song, then everybody carries on with you. So you're shitting yourself for the first 30 seconds, then it was all right. But something happened where somebody said it was Sheffield United, somebody fell off the table, broke his leg, and court cases were banned, so you couldn't do that anymore.
Maybe just had the court cases not on tables.
Yeah.
Like just at the front of the room.
Yeah.
That reminds us when I was in the youth team at Sunderland. Because the first team always played either reserves or youth team, and we went over. It was that famous no watch your tackles or no tackling. I've caught Emerson Tom with an elbow, bust his nose. Bobby Saxton absolutely destroyed us, sent us in.
Yeah.
I was just fucking wanted to give him a bit.
It's a
I think secretly they liked it though.
Yeah, they will have done better.
I bet you were shitting yourself though at the time, when you got
Yeah, it was
sent
horrible. Yeah, especially because they make a thing of it, don't they? Watch your fucking tackles, it's Friday. Boff.
Have that Emerson.
Yeah.
Claret everywhere.
Boff.
Not good.
Thing is, I don't know if it was saying we are, but whenever we played the first team who were playing on the Saturday, we always used to dick them.
Yeah.
Oh, for whatever reason.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And like the experienced pros who were not in the team, you can hear them muttering to this end. We just dicked them. Why are we not fucking playing?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Because they were safe though, weren't they? They knew they were playing tomorrow, so they'd just take it easy in that game.
Yeah.
They'd just take the foot off gas to save the body and all that kind of stuff. But
And the other lads are
you'd be buzzing, you'd be going at it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mad.
The stuff on the tables, though, it's when you think about it now, it's madness, isn't it? You got a young lad, how old
16.
16
Yeah.
on a table, naked,
in
with
front
broom up
of-
his ass.
Yeah. Yeah.
Horrific.
But that's how it were. I mean, I do think it's changed for the worse. Not quite that bit, but I think they need to get some sort of happy medium between getting away with murder and getting a fucking broom up your ass. Somewhere in the middle, I'd say.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
I don't know, hitting him with broom or something like that.
Who was in the youth team with you? Anybody that went on?
Ian Breckin. He went on to play for Wigan and Chesterfield. Paul Hurst, who was at Rotherham all his career.
Manager now, Paul Hurst.
Yeah, he's at Grimsby at the minute. Is it Grimsby?
Oh, I'm thinking, who's fucking manager at Rotherham now? Is he
Paul
gone?
Warne.
Warne, that's what I'm thinking of. Sorry.
Out of that was about it, really. We went on to play pro after that. Some of them obviously went straight into non-league once they got released. But most others that were in that side, because obviously I got released from Sheffield United, I've gone to Rotherham. You gutted at first, but then I've gone there and there's Bobby Davison, Martin Pike, Chris Wilder, Mark Todd. So I'm like in half a Sheffield United dressing room anyway.
Yeah.
So that kind of, I was buzzing at that side of it, being in with all them lads. Trying to think who else was there at the time. Billy Mercer, keeper. Matt Clark, who was at Chef Wednesday.
So Rotherham, like if you wanted to stay in Yorkshire and you were leaving Sheffield United,
Yeah, it felt
you'd
that
probably
way.
go to Rotherham.
Yeah. Yeah. And obviously Sean Goater were there at the time. Des Hazel, again, all players that had played around sort of Rotherham, Chesterfield, probably even a bit further up into Bradford, up that end. It all kind of came to that area to play afterwards. So yeah, they had a decent side and decent crack, decent. Phil Ensign and John Breckin were managers at the time, so they were good. Then we got Archie Gemmill and John McGovern after that, and they weren't so good.
Well, at this point, were Rotherham a club where if you were a decent young un, you'd have a chance of getting in?
Yeah, well, yeah,
Because they've got no one else, like...
Yeah, definitely. And that's the thing what I was saying about the youth team. If you'd got half a chance, you wanted a smaller youth team squad that played in reserves and they put you into the first team squad. So I was in and around the squad a lot. I was like 17th man, 16th man or whatever it was at the time, but never actually got in at Rotherham. Because Hursty was in at left back all the time. Hursty was obviously legend for Rotherham, played all them games, stayed all his career. But then every time he got injured, they'd bring someone in on loan who was 37, 38, and I'm thinking, never going to get a chance here, never going to get a chance. So the end of that year, obviously, Wrighton was on the wall, they released me. Ended up going to Worksop for 7 or 8 games, then got up to Darlington. We drew Rotherham in Coca-Cola Cup, first round, back at their place. We beat them 3-1, so obviously I'm buzzing then, aren't I? Archie Gemmill and John McGovern still managers. And tunnel at Millmore, down at corner, used to go up and home dressing room was to left and away dressing room down corridor to right. End of game, Archie Gemmill stood at top of the tunnel like that, just looking at me. And I thought, oh, fuck off, will you? You're not my manager anymore. I just went, I was wrong. Sorry. So I thought, oh, fair play to him. So all my opinion of him, with everything that happened in the year that I was there when I didn't get a look in, and I was happy to be around it, because obviously he's somebody who's done quite a lot in the game, and it was nice to see everything that he did. But Fridays were full contact with him. If he'd smash in, just pick you up and put you offside. Fuck off, if you're injured, you're not in my squad tomorrow. But it'd be full contact 5-a-side on a Friday with him. So he did things totally different. And
Is that actually your work with Brian Clough?
Yeah. Yeah. So
Jeez, man.
he's as much as I didn't get on with him because he didn't want to pick me. I take my hat off to him for after the event coming back to me and saying I was wrong.
I was wrong. Yeah.
Not to
So
give me a chance.
when you're playing at the old at Millmore, weren't it? Did the lads just straight get into Tivoli's?
Yeah.
No, Tivoli's were bang next to the ground, all connected to the ground in the stand, and it were a nightclub bar.
Yeah. I mean, going back then, this is how long ago it was. I think you could pay a tenner and you could drink all night.
Yeah, that's what
Imagine
I mean.
that now.
£10 in. £10. I think when I went, I were about 14. It was 15 quid. 15 quid, all you can drink. Yeah.
Oh.
But it was connected to the stand at the ground. You imagine that? You finish your game back in the day,
Yeah.
pay your fucking
Straight
head and
in.
centre, and you
Drinking like
Straight
Oliver Reed,
Yeah.
dancing like John Travolta right in it. Right.
And obviously, depending on who the manager was, you'd get away with being in there all night, and then some managers would be like, didn't want to see you in there, didn't want any stories about you being in there, because there were no phones or anything back then. So there'd always be somebody planted in there, wasn't there, some spy?
Yeah, they're always get back.
Obviously, if that's the situation, you're a younger lad. Would you go in like with some of the older boys, or
Not for starters, but then obviously once you'd been around the players a bit more and they got to know you got to know them, you then got brought into the squad a bit more. Then you'd go in and have a couple of drinks and then obviously bugger off, go home, go to your local.
I can't believe it's not still open because it was fucking great gaff. Orange Hooch, I think I was drinking.
Orange Hooch.
I was only 14, wasn't I? You know what I mean? Give us a breath, lads.
It's got a cartoon character on it, it's all right.
What was the crack with the river? Training ground?
Oh, so Rotherham ended up being one of the first ones to get their own training ground. They've got 4 or 5 pitches on, they've got a restaurant in it and everything. So back then that was a big thing. And I think there was only someone like Arsenal who'd got something similar. Everybody else had got pitches and porta cabins and not developed everything. But there was a river that ran right around the other side of it and some fishing rights and everything. But the balls, invariably, off one of the pitches, always used to end up in the river. And if you were nearest one to it as a young pro or YTS lad at the time, go on, son, in you go. This river's running like a torrent outside. Obviously, back then, Mitre Multiplex, they only got so many a season. They weren't like now where you get millions. Go on, son, in you go. No nets to hold you or anything like that. And there was plenty of places to hang on to banks down the other side. But if it went to the far side, you were like, don't fancy that. But yeah, young lads used to have to go in and...
It was the same at Sunderland.
And swim
after
so
it. Passionate about these balls. It was like a full-on search. If there was one ball short on an afternoon, the whole youth team were out.
Yeah.
Remember the Charlie Early Centre?
Yeah.
The fields... Lads are in the straw and that trying to find these balls. Got it, lads! And then we could go home like that, 5 o'clock.
Yeah, but the thing is, you're not going to die looking in the straw, are you?
Yeah, that's
you know what I mean.
It's still a ball ache.
Yeah. I mean, imagine it river now. They wouldn't send people in, I'm sure.
No.
There might be something further down,
Health and safety.
something that collects it, but
Go on, River Wild.
in you go.
Getting home, like, to your mum and dad, have you had a good day training? Well, yeah, but
It's dripping.
I had to fucking, I had to get river again. All right, you'll be all right, love. You'll be fine.
Tough for you.
Fucking hell, I don't tell my parents off at stuff that went off in dressing room. They wouldn't let you go in, would they? You imagine that with your kids? It's all right them coming home from school saying so-and-so said this and so-and-so said that, but some of the stuff that went off.
The centre forwards put a fucking broom up my ass today, man. You'll be all right, love. Don't make a man of you.
Yeah, he'll sort you out.
Well, probably can't ask this. Were it Christmas dudes back in the day when there were strippers and that used to come?
Tivoli's, yeah. Yeah. I only got involved in 2 of them, but yeah. Used to pay for them to come in.
They were good.
It's highlighting it as a youth team, my man.
Oh, aye.
Yeah.
That's the first time that Sunderland used to get them in, get the youth
15,
team involved.
16.
Yeah,
You see a pair of boobs.
Yeah.
We saw a lot more than a pair of boobs at my first Christmas do, let me tell you.
Were you ouch?
Were you ouch?
Drinking ouch?
No, I'd upgraded then. I started drinking lager at 15, maybe 16.
Going on to Darlow, it wasn't the Reynolds, was it?
It was at the end, yeah. So at first it wasn't, but there was 3 or 4 different chairmen in the time that I was there that they built a new stand, which was great, perfect for that club. The guy who was running that, the money disappeared, he disappeared, everything. Just one of them things where you just think...
But you went from workshop, so you went back into the league, is that right?
Yeah, I was at Worksop for about, 6-7 games at the start of the season, but David Hodgson, who managed, he was at Middlesbrough for a bit. He lived local, so he'd been down to watch all Rotherham's reserve games year before, because obviously it's only 10 minutes away for him. So he just phoned me up and said, I didn't realise you'd been released, you fancy coming up? So I ended up playing the first game. I think we played Crewe in Cup on a Tuesday night. I think they were 3-0 down from first leg, and then on the Saturday we played Hartlepool, which was my league debut back then. So he just phoned up and said, do you fancy coming up? So I went up and trained, and again, you walk into the dressing room, you want to just, I don't know anybody. But he'd got 5 or 6 lads that travelled from down here. We used to meet here actually at a hotel, park up, drive up, because nobody lived up there at that point. They did get a clubhouse after that, but 4 or 5's in the cars, driving up, driving back down every day. So there's no staying up there. So it was an hour and a half, 2 hours travel each day before and after training. So you were knackered every day.
And when were you allowed to? What were it back then? Could Darlington just put like your 7 days into Worksop?
Yeah, I was non-contract at Worksop at the time. So they just put 7 days in and off I went, which they were happy with. They'd said if somebody come in, I could go. So
they also had to start with, though, don't they?
Yeah, they do. Yeah,
until they can get a booking 25 grand for you or 50 grand for you, whatever it is.
And were you confident when you went to Worksop that somebody within the league would be coming?
I think going back to what you said before about were you confident in the dressing room? When I was at Rotherham, when you're training with people every day, first few weeks you're kind of finding your feet. But then after that, yeah, no problem. I knew I could play at that level, and I knew I could play with them. I just gutted I didn't get my chance there because it's only 10 minutes from home. So when I went up to Darlington, again, you're just thinking, right, well, I've gone to Worksop, bit of a stepping stone. I know that
I'll be back.
if somebody's looking at that point, you're young, aren't you? You still think you can get there, and you still think you can get to the top level. So yeah, I'd got confidence in myself that would happen. I was left-footed as well, so that helps because there aren't as many around. But I went up there, and again, because I'd been in and around the dressing room, I went up there and I found it easier to settle into obviously what was my second club from that point of view. That it was just easier to get involved with everybody. Particularly as I went straight into the team as well, so you're accepted a bit more, aren't you? Rather than you're on the edge of it.
Yeah.
Underrated derby, that, innit? Darlington, Hartlepool.
Yeah, I got knocked out. Keith Ouchin.
You did?
Yeah, you were talking about elbows before. About 70th minute, just up for a corner, gone up, bang. See you later. On the floor, nose to one side, blood everywhere. Yeah. So,
Think you meant to do it?
I think so. Yeah.
He was a big bugger, wasn't he?
Yeah.
Big horrible
Big
bugger.
unit.
We off?
Yeah, I went off. Yeah. I couldn't seeing stars. But
Did you? So you were straight in the team when?
yeah, straight in, straight up.
Right.
That helps, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Signing for a new team.
Yeah.
and
So I think
whatever.
the midweek one we'd played Crewe in whatever it was back then, Coca-Cola Cup, and then they were already. I think he just took it as a chance to bring. I think it was me and one other that came in as a bit of a free hit, give us a chance against another league team, and see how we go. And we did all right. I think we beat them that night 2-1, and then obviously we straight into it on the Saturday. And then after that, it was all plain sailing from that point of view with Darlington, with regards to being in the team that year. He played wing backs, which nobody were doing at the time, and I played left wing back then.
that suit you.
Yeah, because when I was at Rotherham, we played Preston away when they had the old artificial, and
There weren't a lot of
no,
grass on. Well, not grass, but there weren't a lot of
Fabric.
fabric. The word I'm looking for.
Plastic, yeah.
A bit like them thongs you wear. There weren't a lot of fabric. It was literally, you must have been fucking burnt and
yeah. So it was horrible. But on the way there, they said, "Look, we've got nobody to play left back. Do you fancy it?" Because I'm left-footed. So I just went, "Yeah, why not?" And game changed for me from being, like we said before, about back to play, feeding everybody in, going forward, ball coming onto me. Totally different game.
So were you still a striker? Were you still a striker before you got to Down?
No, sorry, this was at Rotherham when we played Preston.
Right.
But when we went to wing back at Darlington, I'd only just gone that last sort of 6 months before to playing left back, left wing back, and that was at Preston when I was at Rotherham. So he ended up playing me there, and that stuck. I just never changed from then on.
You know, when you got to Darlington, how old are you?
19, 20.
So were there any an area? You know, you were talking about taking someone's place. Were there any like Urias left back there that experienced
really.
pro that you're stepping in his boots?
No, not back then. It happened to me a bit later on when I was at Darlington. But when I first went up there, I don't think they'd got a left back at the time.
Right. So even
because he signed Anthony Cars as well. He came and played left midfield or in centre midfield as well. So there was like two left footers, and that was about it really. But no, when I went up there was no other left footers that were feeling out of place or anything like that.
That's pretty normal, isn't it, for lower leagues if they're signing you?
You're playing, aren't you?
Yeah, definitely. And he got a decent mix of players up there as well. There's some experience. We've got Gary Bannister, who was obviously coming to the end of his time, who everybody used to think when he was running at someone, he was jinking. Turns out he'd busted his leg a few years before and he was an inch shorter on one side, and everybody thought it was a little jink. So everybody's asking him, "Where did you learn that?" And he went, "I didn't. It's just happened.
I just can't fucking walk properly.
I can't run anymore."
Who else was there?
So we had Mike Pollitt in goal, who obviously he went down to Rotherham and went to play on quite a decent career for him. We had Griggs, centre half.
What were you like back then, Sean?
He was raw, but you could see he got something. You know, when like you're talking about before, you're in the dressing room and you think, "Oh, is this going to be a bit too much for me?" I felt all right in the dressing room, but then you can see players that you can see are a little bit better than everybody else. And we got three. We'd got Griggs, Matty Appleby, and Blakey. And they were the three, really. And they were centre half, centre midfield, centre forward, the spine of our team. Yeah. And you could see that they were always going to go on and do something bigger and better. But it was, how long could they keep hold of them? So they kept hold of them for that season until we got to playoffs. But after that, obviously, Griggs went to Preston, Matty went to Barnsley, and Blakey, I think Blakey went to Bradford.
I played with Blakey when he was 40. What was he like at that age?
He was, well, you could literally give him the ball and I'd go and stand back at left back and he'd do everything else and finish it for you. He'd just got feet that people couldn't live with him. And all right, sometimes that's a frustration when you've got a player who wants to do that all the time, but you knew if you got him the ball, he was just going to do something with it every time, whether it was a goal, a cross, or a shot, something. But he would always create something when he was up there, and you could see that he was going to go on to bigger and better things. I mean, he's got a screw loose.
Yeah,
but yeah, he was probably the best striker that I played with there, because then we had Marco Gabbiadini came at the end of his career a year or so later, and he was good again. He'd get him the ball and he'd do something magic. He'd do something in and around the box. So I think at that level they always needed a mix of the older pros that had played higher level and the younger lads who would do their running, and that's what we kind of had at that point. Or some players that are going to go through the system and go all the way up.
Yeah. How old would Gabbiadini have been at the time?
He'd got to have been 32, 33 when he first came.
Right.
But he was still fit, and he could finish again. Put the ball at his feet and he'll wriggle round somebody and get it.
With like the young lads.
He was all right. He was brilliant.
Because like it must be. It's hard. Like if you played at a really high level and you're dropping down the way, it must be hard for. Well, I can tell you it is. It's hard. Like playing with players who are just not as good.
Totally.
And you're like, fucking hell, why has he done that? What's he done that for?
Well, you can see that with some players, like you're saying, that, not necessarily don't accept you, but they're just looking, thinking, are you really that fucking bad? Because obviously they've been at that level, and they're used to players, you ping it at them and it's there and it's done. Games.
that's worse as well, by the way, isn't it?
Yeah.
A look is worse than fucking hell, man.
Well, that's what Bella's did.
The look of disappointment.
That's what Bella's did.
Because you're reading into it as well, aren't you? Because
Yeah.
what's he thinking there, rather than him just telling you?
Yeah.
Yeah. You can kind of
some
spin it
shit.
as a positive, can you?
Yeah.
He wants us to do well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But if you just get that look,
Well, Bella's
Yeah.
used to do it with Kev McNaughton, didn't it, Cardiff? Kev, what the fuck are you doing? What are you doing? Why have you done that? He's playing the fucking champ.
We'd season after that we had Kenny Dalglish come down to train with us because he got sacked from Newcastle. So I think he just wanted to do something because he was friends with Odgie because they'd known each other before when he was at Liverpool with him. And he must have been in his 40s at this point, and he's come down and he's absolutely run our training sessions. Absolutely unbelievable. All lads were like, he could still play. And he's playing balls through, and exactly what you've just said, he's just going, ball would go through and he'd go, why don't you fucking run? You knew it would go in there. And we're like, no, we didn't.
poor me, Kenny.
That must have been mad though for you as a young
Yeah.
lad, Kenny Dalglish walking in the dressing room, and even if it's just training sessions, you know.
We didn't expect it. We used to train at Durham's on cricket ground on outfield before it became all serious as it is now. And so the best surface we'd ever play on, because most of the pitches back then were like a ploughed field. So we'd train on this carpet. And he's come down, and I think he trained with us for about 2 weeks before he went on to do his stuff with Sky Sports and everything. But we were all like, brilliant. And when you see somebody on TV, and he's got that persona when he's speaking to people on TV, and he's got a front on him that didn't really want to let anything go, didn't want to speak to anybody. Different person when he was in that dressing room with us. He was brilliant. He were absolutely fantastic.
He never shoved a broom up anyone's ass.
No, he didn't. No.
Fucking hell, that'd be a scoop, wouldn't it?
Oh, man. How was the FA Cup for you?
It was all right. I mean, that's probably one of my happiest memories of football, because we played Burnley, and we were 2-0 down. We come back to win 3-2 and I've scored winner. And as a kid, when you're growing up and you're looking at FA Cup, and I know nowadays people play it down a bit, FA Cup, but most people
Meant
still
something
love it.
then, didn't it?
It meant something back then.
Match of the day as well. You're always on Match of the day. The goals are anyway.
Yeah, I was on it for an own goal as well. I got slaughtered for that at some point. But yeah, for me, that year for the FA Cup, we, like I say, 2-0 down. Andy Payton got sent off, and he went nowhere near David Priest. You know, Priest, keeper, he's a Sunderland goalkeeper coach now. But it was that foggy. We'd played there because our pitch at Feetham's were shocking, so Middlesbrough let us have that ground. So we played at Riverside, and Payton's gone through on Priest, and if you slow it down now on the video, even though it's grainy, you can see that he's about 6 foot away from him. But it's that foggy, that referee with that far away, linesman, you
Couldn't see if it fog.
couldn't see it. You could literally just see from halfway line either end, which referee's old trial, wouldn't it? If you could stand on halfway line and you could see both goals, referee's happy. If you stood at the other end, you couldn't see what's happening. Fans couldn't see anything from that
What's
end.
he
or
actually
that
got sent off for then?
He has gone into slide because Priest is going to clear it, and he's gone into slide on him and missed him completely, but Priest has dived and gone down, sent him off. 2-0 down. I think we scored in 81st, 87th and 90 plus 2 or 3. And then, obviously, back then, Doesn't mean as much as what it would now, but the next tie was live on Sky against Man City. So they've just got all the money. They've just got decent money coming in and signing decent players and all that kind of stuff. So they're trying to climb their way back up. So we beat Burnley and gone on to play Man City. So that and there's a picture.
So has the linesman flagged or
linesman's flagged? You can see it on video. Linesman's flagged. Referee's blowing his whistle. He's come up to him and Peyton stood there. You can see him looking, thinking, "What are you doing? I've gone nowhere near him. I've slid in front of him to try and block the ball, but he's not touched him or anything." And on the interview after, I think it's Turnant manager. He stood there. He said, "Wants to have a look at himself, that referee." But yeah, so we've come back to win it. So it was brilliant for a club like Darlington. Then to be live on Sky, they get the 150 grand or whatever they got, and it was big money for them.
Yeah.
How did you get on against City?
We drew 1-1. To be fair, we did all right. Gary Bennett scored, who obviously played for City at the time, ex-Sunderland, and we were 1-0 up with about 12, 13 minutes to go, and then Dickoff scored, made it 1-1, and then we lost in extra time at replay at their place. So we did all right in that.
Yes.
2 games on Sky, for club money spinner. Lads enjoyed it and fans loved it and all that kind of stuff. So yeah, it was a good time for me, that FA Cup.
Did anybody get a move off the back of that little FA Cup run?
No, not at that point, because Griggs and Matty and Blakey had gone at that point.
Oh, they already gone?
Yeah, they'd gone. I think 2 or 3 others. One at Maddis lads had played with Steve Gorn, Stan. He went from Darlington, he went down to Chesterfield, but he used to get a club car. He used to get a Rover, like a little small Rover. But he couldn't really drive, so he passed his test to do it. We're going up motorway up A1 before it got changed now.
What do you mean he couldn't really drive?
He couldn't really put one foot in front of the other most days, but we'd gone a night out. Let's go back to that. He'd gone a night out, and we'd be in Leeds, and he'd end up in London and then Birmingham in the same night, because he thought it was shit in Leeds. Wherever we were like, oh, this is all right.
Where are you going? London.
So he'd jump on a train, go down to London, then because we'd be thinking like 2 o'clock in the morning, night's done, and he'd be partying all the way through. He'd find somewhere to go. So that was it. And that was his what he did. Yeah, pick him up for training on a Monday morning. Right, we're training at 10 o'clock at Catterick. I'll pick you up at 8:30 here. Phones me, yeah. Can you wait? We'll phone Gaffer and just tell me there's been an accident. This, that, and the other. Yeah, okay. 10 o'clock, we're supposed to start training. I'm still sat here waiting for him. Oh, can you come and pick me up from Donny train station? He's been in Birmingham the night before. So I'm having to go and pick him up. And we're telling him we're going to be late for training because there's been an accident. By the time we get up there, training's finished. So we're pulling up into the car park. We're having to just do a 12-minute run and some stuff with Gaffer.
So with Gaffer, when you...
He was obviously waiting for us to turn up for training, but 20 other lads have turned up, and I'm still sat down here waiting for Stan at the point when he couldn't drive. But then when he passed his test, because he was getting a club car, tape deck back then, we're going up A1, and there used to be, where the bridges were, there used to be a lay-by road at the side where lorries used to go under that were too high for some of the bridges. Yeah. He's changing this tape, not looking at road. We goes off from outside lane on A1, we goes off under downside and comes back up the other side. I've had to grab hold of the steering wheel, come off the other side. Fucking 4 of us in car, shit ourselves. And Stan's going, what? What's wrong? He'd not even...
We've gone up, down, under bridge, back up again.
Back over, and he's still changing this. Oh, I'll get it somehow. This is my mixtape. I've done this last night.
See, to be fair, I mean, maybe once, twice I'm waiting for him. But after that, I'm like, I'm sorry, mate, you're on your own. I'm going to have to get off.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? You're up there. Yeah.
We knew if he was going out on a weekend out, we'd just say, mate, your own way there. After the 3 or 4 times, I think we give him. But then most of the time, he just wants to look, I am half an hour behind here, or I am 10, 15 minutes behind. Just hang on for us. But, yeah, he was... And he was the one that always got the gear. You know, there's always somebody at the club that would get some knockoff gear from somewhere.
Oh, well, he's fucking with his weight in gold then.
Yeah. And
I'll wait.
But standing joke was, don't wash it, because the sleeves would end up on the floor. So lads are walking around with these jumpers.
I bet they still wore them, though, didn't they?
Yeah.
I bet they were still fucking half a dozen every day in the dressing room.
Must have been some big clubs in that league. Just looking at what we've got here. Cardiff.
Yeah, Cardiff are in there. Obviously, different story for them now, but story about that. One of my mates from school, Welsh lad, dad, staunch Cardiff fan. Wouldn't speak to me about anything other than Cardiff. Always wanted to speak about Cardiff. Wouldn't entertain anything else. We've played away there on a Tuesday night. We've won 2-0. I've scored 1-0 up. I'm running towards our fans, and all I'm thinking is, fucking hell, he's going to hate me. He's not going to like me at all. Anyway, next day I've gone into shop for paper. He's walked past me, didn't speak to me. For 2 weeks he wouldn't speak to me.
Blanky.
Like me, yeah. But obviously Cardiff fan, his club, this, that and the other, knows me. I've scored against Cardiff. Wouldn't speak to me. We have a laugh and a joke about it now, but I keep sending him video now and again.
Come on, mate. You know what I mean?
Just doing your job,
It's
man.
my job.
Yeah, that's what he says now. I saw him at a funeral the week and he just said, yeah, you were just doing your job. But obviously as a fan of the club back then, you'll see it everywhere you go, that people are staunch to their club, aren't they? And people aren't willing to see anybody else's club and bend to acknowledge somebody. Even people who finish playing now, they still hate them. They won't, because they play for their nemesis. They play for Sheffield United, Sheff Wednesday, whoever those fans just don't like them players. The genuine fans do, but there's a portion of fans that don't like them, isn't there?
Yeah.
Still hate them.
Childish, isn't it?
Yeah, very.
I
Yeah.
mean, it's a bit childish.
But you understand that, having been in football. But when you're outside it as a fan, it's Sheffield United, Sheffield United, Sheffield United.
Yeah.
But when you're in there, I've said to all my mates, would you go and play for Sheff Wednesday if they'd have come for you? Me too, right, I would. I'd have run off to cop kissing badge if we'd won. It's one of them things, it's your job then, isn't it?
Yeah.
Not that I don't like Sheffield United and I wouldn't support Sheffield United, but you'd go and play for anybody if the offer came, wouldn't you?
Yeah, of course you would.
Yeah, I think there's a mentality shift in there if you play the game compared to being a fan. When you're a fan and you're a young lad, 14, 15, and like you said, it's all badge kissing and all that, but when you're in the game...
But anybody listening to this will still be like, a Sheffield Wednesday fan listening to this, and I don't go, I won't fucking play for Sheffield United for a gold pig.
Until
Yeah,
gold
yeah,
pigs on
definitely.
table.
Until gold pigs on the table, and you're like, oh,
Yeah.
go on then.
Yeah.
I'll have a couple of
Yeah,
years.
I don't think Rammers would. Simon
No,
Ramsden.
no.
I don't think it's time for Newcastle.
Would you have?
Yeah, 100%.
Horrible bastard. You horrible
I like
bastard.
gold pigs.
Two gold pigs on the arm.
You'd have to wait same as me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think people listening to this will probably forget Darlington being in the league
Yeah, they would, yeah.
and doing well.
Yeah.
He's getting the playoffs.
Yeah, that was, again, you talk about days and things. For me, that was my one of the best days I've had in football. We lost, still my best day I've had in football because it was at Wembley. We played Plymouth, and ironically Warnock went manager of Plymouth at the time, obviously big United manager and done well for them, but the whole setup for everything, Darlow didn't want us to go up. That was the main thing. We'd overachieved in that season with the players that we'd got. Odgie had put a decent side together, and it was evident as time went on. Stopped paying us a couple of the bonuses, and you thought, oh, they're trying to piss us off here. They're trying to annoy us.
What, had you pushing
it's
for
mind-blowing,
promotion?
isn't
As
it?
we're pushing for promotion, yeah.
That does happen.
So what's
It's
the
hard to
thought
get your head
process?
round.
All right.
They'd not got the money to pay the extra wages as you went up or attract the players.
Pay the
that they needed.
bonuses for going open.
So, what's
It happens more than you think.
the
Yeah.
point? All right.
But yeah, but so as
What's
a
the
fan,
point
it
in owning
must,
a football
like,
club?
As a fan, that must blow your mind more than anything. The fact that your club don't really want you to go up.
Yeah, I mean, even the last day of the season we played Scunny, and if we'd won, we'd have gone up automatically. So you could see directors and chairman didn't really want to speak to us. They didn't want to. We drew 3-3, and I think Bury beat whoever they were playing, so they went up automatic, and we ended up in the playoffs. So we ended up playing Hereford. So I think chairman and everything were happy. Then you've got an extra 2 games, possibly going to Wembley. They've got more money than what they would have done just going straight up. Obviously, they'd forgot about the fact that you've got to win them 2 games to get to Wembley first, didn't you? So, but the club didn't want us to go up, even to the point on the night before the final, we're all getting knocks on the door in a hotel at midnight because we've got no tracksuits, no nothing, no kit, no Wembley stuff or anything. Midnight, they're all knocking us up, waking us up. You'd think, well, just leave it till next morning. But they wanted to destroy our preparation and all the lads.
So they went that far to sabotage?
Yeah.
My God, man.
It's surprised the fucking fire alarm weren't going off and food poisoning.
And even at training, the,
Fire alarm going off, and they've got CCTV chairman's just running away from the thing.
even training the day before, we trained at this place that got like American football posts up for some reason. We ended up doing not fast laps, but post to post, 3, 4, 5, 6, and it was 100 degrees. FA Cup final on that afternoon, so we're training and we're going back to hotel to watch the FA Cup final, and they've run bollocks off us day before our playoff final.
That's like
Sad, isn't it, really?
mind-boggling, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, Darlington fans especially must be listening to this thinking, fuck me. And now that, I mean, what league are they in now?
Conference North. I think.
Conference North.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was mad. Obviously, the players, we'd got a group going that had got a good thing going, and we kept it going. We knew what was happening. We knew what was happening behind the scenes, but we kept it going all the way through. But even the training at times that season, after Odgie had left, because Odgie left halfway through, we had a disagreement about some of the stuff that had gone off.
Sorry, you're doing too well. We're going to have to relieve you your duties.
We're going to get rid. But I think that season I was cup tied because I played for Worksop earlier on in the season. And so we played Rochdale away. So they've said to me, because I'm cup tied, you've bullied at radio. Yeah, great. So I've gone up into stand to radio. Game's finished. They've got beat 3-0 or something like that. They've sold, I think we'd sold, I can't remember who we'd sold, but we sold one player from under Odgie's nose. He didn't know anything about it, just kind of to bring some money in. So unbeknown to me, he's found this out before the game. He's seething. He's done no more to do. God, after the game, because I've gone there with him in the car, because we live down here, and obviously buses come from Darlington, across M62. So he picked up in a car, and 3 of us gone that way. I'm fucking left in Rochdale, because he's jumped in car and gone home. So I'm sat at Rochdale in stand, no mobile phone. How do I get in touch with anybody? So I've had to go into the club and ask to borrow a phone behind the club and get my brother-in-law to come and pick me up from services on M62. So obviously he's in his head, he's not thinking about what else, he's just thinking about, I'm leaving club here, I'm going.
Yeah. And he's left
me. I'm sat in Rochdale like this, fucking hell.
You sat in stand.
I might as well do it for him now, aren't I?
Yeah. Do you want me to stay?
Sat in stand with fucking earthings on for radio. Odgie?
Yeah. And we're just hearing that David Hodgson's left the ground. Oh, fuck, that's my lift.
12:30 at night, still there doing Agony Aunt show.
See, do you know, like, on that basis, like, you can half understand it, such as Harrogate. I mean, Harrogate are different because they've got big backers, but Harrogate, like, make a lot of money from renting their AstroTurf pitch out. So when they went into the league, obviously you're not allowed AstroTurf in the league. I think it's the same with Sutton, maybe. So you can understand them half not wanting to go up, because financially it's going to kill them. Do you know what I mean? But back then, when it was totally different with the pitches and all that,
I think it goes on all the way to the top, though, doesn't it? I know that's why I kind of lost a bit of interest in watching Bolton, because Sam Allardyce tells a story of he was ready to push for the Champions League. They got into it, and Chairman didn't want to. No, we don't want to make Champions League. I imagine for that reason there were bonuses and everything else involved. So then you start thinking, well, what's the point?
But that was, like you just said about the grounds, Darlington's biggest problem was that Reynolds, when he came in, wanted to build this big stadium, 25,000 all-seater. They were never going to get that many. They did get 10 or 12,000 on sort of the best days. So they built one stand down one side, and all they needed to do was make the others good, and that would have been perfect for him. But obviously he did what he did, and...
That's still there, isn't it?
Yeah, just doing nothing.
I think he had to get rid of some money, didn't he?
I don't know.
So
there was all sorts of stories with him, yeah.
No.
When he first came in, he came into the dressing room saying hello to everybody. He got his hair safety pinned down on sides and everything like that. He got his missus, who were 30 years younger than him, all dressed up to nines and everything like that. He's gone out onto the pitch. He said hello to everybody. Gone out onto the pitch, microphone. I'd like to hand you over to my wife. All fans and all players like, fucking hell, is his wife going to say?
What did she say?
Not like, let's get this club to where it needs to be. Let's go to the Premier League. There must be a video of it somewhere, but she said something along the lines of what he'd said about, we're going to take this club to the Premier League. And then a couple of weeks later, they paraded Tino Asprey, and then he never, obviously money-wise, he couldn't afford anything for that, but he's gone round ground signing hats, scarves, rattles, everything.
Who, Tino?
Yeah. There's pictures of him all
Was he
around
going
there.
to sign for that? Well,
Yeah. So I don't know what the agreement was there, whether it was paper play or whatever, anything else. But yeah, he was there.
That's mad, isn't it? I can remember him building it like this. I think I played it I think I might have played it against Darlington.
Yeah, you probably
when it must just first open. Fucking incredible.
Yeah.
We're talking like 2000.
Yeah.
99, 2000, when nobody had all these fucking big flash stadiums back then. And you got Darlow in League 2 with 25,000.
Looking like they're ready to kick on.
Premier League bound.
Well, that's what everybody thought. I thought, fuck me, they're having a go.
Yeah, they're having a go at this.
Damn
But
it.
he was doing all sorts with the contracts and players. Let's say I think it might have been Priest who was going to Aberdeen, and obviously you get a deal from one end, a deal from the other. You get a percentage of whatever you can agree. And Darlow didn't want to pay him his money that he was due, because obviously he'd not asked for the transfer. And basically he'd said to him, "No, you're not having it." So Aberdeen agreed to pay double in effects. It wasn't massive for him, but it was a good chunk. And he's then phoned Aberdeen chairman up. No, you're not doing that. That's wrong. So he's trying to get involved in every deal and sort everything out. Players who've got a contract, phoning them up in the middle at night. You need to sign your contract, otherwise I'm going to send boys round.
They send the boys round.
Yeah.
Sign your contract.
Well, Darlow used to play in that black and white hooped kit.
Yeah.
When he joined club, obviously he'd been in prison as a safe breaker. He's come in black and white prison outfit with ball and chain hanging right back.
That's good crack. I like that from him. Is that what he were in prison for?
Safe cracking.
Yeah. Before he went straight. And then he'd make some money out of, I think it was kitchen work surfaces or kitchens or something like that.
Oh,
later on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
New stadium on bloody granite worktops.
How do you crack a safe? Is it like on telly where they like...
With stethoscope
yeah,
on.
All that.
Oh, it was a cracked a few. New stadium.
Where did you find a safe to crack?
No.
I'll have to get him on. Ask him.
You know where there's any big safe to get to have a go at. You know what I mean? Unless it's at banks and whatever.
They'll all be electronic now, but back then I guess they were like businesses up, like hotels and places like that must have had a safe somewhere for cash that's been taken in day and them.
Jesus, man.
Quick toilet break.
Yeah.
So Fulham would have been in back then in League. Well,
Yeah.
was it League 2?
Yeah,
Division 3.
they'd just been taken over by Fayed at the time. So Keegan was manager. They just signed Lee Clark. So we went down on the train one game, and they were obviously sat near us. And Odgie knew him, so he was talking to him, and we were like, they're spending some money. But the next time we went down, we got there sort of 45 minutes early. So Jim Platt, manager at the time, said, let's go and see some sights around London. So driver, carry on down King's Road. He'd underestimated travelling time around London, hadn't he? So from being half an hour, 45 minutes early, we ended up getting changed. Skips are out on Main Road, get all your gear off, get kitted up, back down, and we turned up at ground at 5 minutes to kick off. So, lads, your preparation's gone then, isn't it? You're not
just a bit.
Straight outside, on the first point is it that good a sight to see when you're in a bus? Just like
yeah. Well, he's from Ireland. He's not seen anything like London before, has he?
Fair enough.
But yeah,
As long as he enjoyed it.
he enjoyed it. He was all right. Yeah.
What phone's his missus? I'm just going past Buckingham Palace now, love.
But he come to
Germans
be Odgie's
like
assistant.
crown jewels.
He was selling underwear on a market, I think, or in a shop in Ireland somewhere before he came. Obviously, he was a decent goalkeeper in his time, played for Middlesbrough Ireland, but then he's selling underwear at the time, and he's come over to be Odgie's assistant. And obviously, when Odgie left, he took over. He didn't have a fucking clue about training. He didn't have a Scooby.
Knew his underpants, though.
Yeah, he knew his stuff. Sort your missus out with your underwear. we used to train at Catterick, which was right at the side where the garrison was, windy as hell, right on the side of A1. We'd play one-man Wembley. Pro footballers play one-man Wembley.
Wembley singles.
Yeah. And he'd be throwing it up from behind, and obviously Griegs was there at the time. Ball would go up in air, and all you do is, Greegans! We just let him edit. And
Did you pick your own teams and players and that?
most of the time I would, Summit lads, and me included eventually, running around playing and saying, fucking an hour and a half for this shit. Travelling up to just play Wembley.
Who did you go, though? Were you Maradona? You did, though. That was the best bit about it, picking your team.
Yeah, picking who you were.
Bagsy Argentina.
You want my brother with just a goalkeeper and just all the in the box?
It's a free-for-all.
Yeah.
Free-for-all in box.
Who would you go?
Fat R9.
So, but like when you say you didn't have a clue, obviously no badges or anything, and he's just like, right.
Well, I
Fancy
don't know
giving
whether he had
Wembley,
badges
lads?
or anything, but obviously back then the training was totally different. It was
Headers and volleys.
headers, volleys, crossing, finishing, five-a-side, bit of set play, shadow play, that kind of stuff, and done. But there was times we were training, and he brought Danny Bagara in at the time to help him out. He'd be sat at the side, ball behind his head in sunshine while we're training, just sat at the side of the pitch, and you're thinking that's your gaffer just at the side of the pitch. I'd rather him not turn up than see him do that. I'd rather him be sat in office sorting paperwork out than sat at the side of the pitch.
Tan.
Yeah, getting a tan.
That'd be you, that.
Yeah. You'd be my assistant.
Yeah, I'll take the training. I'll kick the ball in one man Wembley. I'll lie back myself. What? Quattro tequila sunrises. Fucking big Ron.
What was the crack with Preston with the fish?
Oh, so at one point we had Simon Davies on loan, so he played for us. When he went back, one at lads, Phil Brunwell, we've played Preston. It's 3 or 4 games into the season. Gone over there, he's put fish in his bag in dressing room, so he's managed to put fish in his bag. A couple of months later, we've come back. They played us at our place. He's come into the dressing room and put maggots in his toilet bag. So obviously lads are in uproar then because it stinks, doesn't it, maggots?
Fish does, to be fair.
Fish are great. So that was just he was all right, Simon. He had a good crack with lads when he was on loan with us, but obviously they took it a bit far with fish and maggots and everything like that. But it didn't smell very nice for a while.
I'm doing a Johnny A, but is that him from Tottenham? Simon Davies?
No, not that one. The one who was Preston, he was Preston manager for a bit, wasn't he? And Barnes the manager?
Oh, Davey.
Davey.
Right, yeah.
Yeah, Davey.
Right.
I mean, I always thought he was a right boring bastard and all him.
Yeah.
And I never thought he had any crack at all.
I didn't think he had the maggots in him.
No, well, I think he might have now.
Did you ever play against Sheffield United?
Yeah, once apart from pre-season games and games
yeah.
like that, but in serious games in Cup. So we played a home and away in Coca-Cola Cup, and that's one of the only times I've obviously been a United fan, standing there listening to the song when it comes on. You fill up my sense. So I'm stood at the other end, I've got my kit on, and I'm waiting to kick off, singing.
Really?
I'm singing under, obviously, all my friends and family and everything there, and I'm like, you fill up my sense.
Get the crowd going like that.
Yeah, I'm getting everybody going.
To be fair, I used to like playing away at Sheffield for that.
Yeah.
I used to quite enjoy when they start singing and that. It's good.
Yeah, it was a good atmosphere there. We got beat 3-1 at home at Lane, and then we beat them 3-1 at our place. But then they nicked it in extra time.
Did you get an hat-trick for Darley?
No.
No?
A hat-trick for no one. Lucky if I scored 3 goals.
We'll scrap that one then. What's that one? No.
Hat-trick car.
Hat-trick car.
Hat-trick car.
I just got hat-trick.
If you're meant to do that, that's fantastic. I'm tipping you not.
No,
Tell us about this hat-trick car then.
Yeah, so one of the lads, Robbie Painty, bought a car in Darlington off a local bloke who was a big Darlow fan, sorted him a deal out on the car. I don't know what he paid for it, let's say 10 grand. But he agreed to pay him in 3 instalments. So he's paid his first lump up. Next time's come along, started to have a few problems with the car. So anyway, he gets problems sorted, goes back to the dealer, pays him his second lump, comes to the end of it, he's thought, fucking still something wrong with this car. So he took it somewhere else for somebody to have a look at it. It were 3 cars. It were a front, a back of something else, a cut and shut, and an engine from somewhere else. So he's now still owing this, let's say, 3.5 grand. And the lad's got cottoned onto it. And I think it was Blakey that's gone into office and got one at Lasses to write a post-it note saying, Robbie, you've had a message from whoever it is down the road. You owe what you owe. We know where you live. We know all this. He shit himself. He sat in the dressing room thinking, fucking, so lads were going to keep it going for a while, but we couldn't, when somebody shit themselves that much. So they had to tell him that day and just tell him that it was, look, we've wound you up with that one. But because the lad was a big meathead, and you could tell he, from a backstreet garage back then, he was going to.
But surely he's within his right to say, I'm not paying you the rest because it's 3 different fucking cars.
He did in the end. He got some sort of deal out of it, whether he didn't pay him the whole lot. But he did change the car, obviously, because it was doing all sorts. But it was crabbing down the road and everything. You'd follow him and everybody would be shaking him back at the car.
Fucking hell.
He's paid 2 instalments, one for engine, one for front, and he just needed to pay third one for back.
Sierra bit at back. Would you not tell on her? Would you not be able to tell?
When it's a Rover front half, box off back end.
You know what I mean? Would you not be able to see when it's welded and that?
No, there's some good garages up north, mate.
Yeah? Some faulty bastards.
Did you end up moving up then? You said about the clubhouse.
No, so what happened then was they realised that they were getting a lot of players from either further down south, or where we are down in Yorkshire, or we were getting a few foreigners in then, so we were getting a few lads from Poland, Austria, wherever coming across, so they needed somewhere to put them. So I'm not sure whether they bought it or they rented this big farmhouse at Sedgefield near the racecourse. So we got Jason DeVos and a couple of other lads from Canada over. And so we used to stay there night before. So like if we got home game on Tuesday, we'd stay up Monday night, Friday night before Saturday games. But But then this one particular time, Jace has gone off to his international duty and he's left his club car there. And there was a track all the way around the farm you could go through, but it was a bit tight in certain areas. So we were ragging this car around, racing it round farm. And other lad from Canada, he's obviously not used to car driving on that side of the road, is he? He's gone through these gate posts that you weren't supposed to go through and took both wing mirrors off, ploughed into an edge, so there's bits of bush and everything hanging over the car. We've ended up just parking it up and saying, oh, you must have left it like that. He's come back and obviously he's had to sort the car out.
Oh, dear.
So you've left his car in bushes?
No, we pulled it back.
He's just not got two wing mirrors.
we took bits of stuff
full of
off.
leaves.
And wing mirrors are hanging off the side of it and everything.
It must have been like that when you left it.
He knew we'd been ragging it round and everything, but he could never pin it down on anybody.
I can get you a wing mirror from an Escort. Sierra if you need one.
Yeah, we know someone who can sort your new car out. But that was another one at the clubhouse. We signed a lad called Danny Barbara. Oh, I might have got that wrong. Pronunciation's gone wrong there. But this French lad, he'd been at Monaco, he'd been at a few clubs like that, but we'd signed him. But he drove over in his left-hand drive Astra. We've gone down the drive at the club, we've turned right onto the main road, and he's on the opposite side of the road. Car's coming straight towards us, and luckily this car must have realised and he's just gone round us opposite way. So we ended up shit ourselves. I thought there's 4 or 5 lads in the car there that are all playing football. It's a massive insurance job there, isn't there?
And he's fucking driving the wrong side of the road.
Driving the wrong side of the road. He were another one that played cards in house, and he were dealing from bottom at pack. So I always won. We were like, how's he fucking winning all the time? He's dealing from bottom at pack.
What are we doing?
Yeah.
Why did you end up leaving, Darlow?
So I'd got a clause in my contract. If I played 40 games, I got another deal. And I got to 39 games. Back then, obviously, with cups you played and everything like that, about 12 games from end of season. Dropped like a stone, didn't play again. Because obviously, money-wise, again, there's sign-on fee, there's a contract extension, extra monies and all that.
Yeah, security had gone up on safes at that time. Hadn't it?
So at that point, it was just like you either knew that your face didn't fit, or it was down to the money side of it, and probably a bit of both. But
40's a lot, man.
It was.
I mean, I used to
got cruciates hanging out and everything.
Any of them in yours? 23, maybe 24. So you're thinking when you sign it,
is that league or league and cup though? Because that was both.
I were always both.
Yeah.
24. You were like, you've half a chance, hadn't you?
Top end.
Yeah.
I had 25 at Bury and I was 25 short.
And look at them now. Where are they now? 25 short.
But you know, managers from time to time, if you're in squad or you're not in squad, they play mind games, don't they? Well, they used to do. Maybe not as much now. But so we come to the last game of the season. I need one for this new contract. And he pulls me and says, right, you need to come and meet Bus because you sub tomorrow. Happy days.
And you've not been involved in the previous 11 or whatever?
Games. I've been played every game before that, League, Cup, whatever you want. Come to that last game, and he said, oh, you're involved. So I drives up, trains with everybody as we normally do, gets on the bus, gets to the ground, team sheet goes up, name's not even on it, having said what he said. So that's when you think, my days are numbered, A, why? And then you don't always get the genuine reason, do you, behind it all. So I've asked him, and he's just said, look, he said, we can't afford the increase in the contract, the extra sign-on fees and all that kind of stuff, so we're going to have to let you go.
At least there was a bit of honesty there.
So in the end of it.
It just pops up so much, doesn't it?
You not just say, well, why the fuck you fetched me here? I could have gone out last night.
Yeah. It was one of them things that I'm driving then in the car to the game thinking, fucking hell, happy days.
If I get on?
If I get on it, I'm sorted. And obviously, no, got released. And then he didn't tell me. He told me a few years after that Chris Turner, who manager at Hartlepool at the time, phoned him up and said, look, you've released him. Am I right to take him? And he's, on my behalf, has turned around and said, no, he won't come. He won't come to Hartlepool. Like talking earlier. Of course I'd have gone to Hartlepool. Yeah. You've released me. I'm going to go and play, aren't I?
Yeah.
So he told me a few years after about that. But
did you hit him?
Not at that point. I wish I had done. I'm all right with him now. I get on with him now. So it's.
See, I'm hitting him.
So with there no option of, right, listen, we can't afford it. You know, if you want to stay, we're just going to have to wipe the new contract and
redo it
and crack on.
No. Nothing like that came up. And that's what I've always said. I always remember Kevin Pressman leaving Chef Wednesday because they couldn't afford his wages at the time, whatever it was. And I'm thinking, well, have they actually offered him half what he's on to keep him there? Because he would have wanted to stay at Chef Wednesday, surely he'd been there that long.
Yeah.
But I think clubs are either, and managers are either too stubborn and too proud to do that, or they don't think, the players will want to do that.
Yeah.
See, I think if I'm a player and somebody's offering me half my money, I'm half thinking they don't really want us anyway.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
But like you say, it's just all about honesty. Again, if the finances aren't there, you not necessarily even half the money. Just you could have to just stay on the contract that you're on. I know we've offered you this, and you get your increase. That you get an increase, but we can't offer it you. So it's either release you or stay
Up to you
on what you're on. It's your decision. Like,
Well, I'm not saying they stitched me up, but they didn't let me go. The only two chances of moves I had was one to Preston and to Chesterfield, the year after they'd done the FA Cup semi-final run. And I think Chesterfield offered 50, 60 grand, Preston offered 70, 80 grand. And I spoke to people and agreed the money and all that. It would have made a difference to my life. The extra money would have been like 3 times what I was on there. So I'm thinking, brilliant, 2 and 3 year contracts offered. So I'm like, and then they just wouldn't let it go.
Do you not think about kicking off on that?
I kicked off with him in room, but obviously then you're thinking, well, if I kick off too much, I'm end up not going to be playing here. You want to go, don't you? If, at that point, when you know there's some interest 100%. Like that and you're going to get a good contract at the other side, you're thinking, I want to go. But then when they turn around and say, no, we're not willing to let you go at this point, and clubs need this, and all the bollocks that comes out.
I know what you're doing.
I'm fucking hell, I know.
Tables up.
Tables up.
On
No,
table.
shitting on his desk.
On table.
I swear to God, I'm shitting on his desk.
In front of him.
Yeah.
He's still sat there.
Why?
Caught for this.
3 times your money.
Yeah.
3 times your money. I'm shitting on his desk.
I can just see him there and all four. See that? See that? That's your fault, that.
You think I'm kidding? Fucking genuinely. Every day in training, as soon as the ball comes to me, I'm kicking it as far as I can.
Into River.
Into fucking river. Let some of the young
Not getting it.
We'll see if you can kill a few young lads.
Well, yeah, that's fucking out of order, innit, man?
Yeah.
3 times your money.
Yeah. Which, again, compared to today's wages, wasn't massive, but
Back then, it's still
good money. And security-wise, for me, there was the extra years on the contract. There was obviously the sign-on fees, appearance money was better, and all that kind of stuff. And obviously the weekly wage. For lads at that level who aren't going to get to the top level, who know they're not going to get to the top level, it makes a big difference.
Frustrating, no, man.
Yeah. Like I say, when you know that you're not going to get up to that top level, you've played against enough teams and against enough players to know that I knew that I wasn't going to get to Premier League. I knew we'd played against a few teams who were in Championship and you could hold your own. But I knew I was never going to get to Premier League. When you played against enough players, in my head, we played against like Man United, Keith Gillespie on right wing, couldn't get near him. We're going home in car after game and my uncle says, why don't you kick him into the stand? I said, I fucking would if I got near him. Couldn't get anywhere near him. So there's certain games when you know that. And I think there was another couple I played, Hull at the time, I think Glyn Hodges played, and I played in centre midfield that day don't know why, we must have been short. And I thought, he's finished now, I'll show him what I can do. Never got a kick, never got near it. And that's when I knew that when you played against some of them lads who played at top level, I wasn't going to get near that.
But you've got the mindset of, right, as long as I can make a living out the game.
Exactly, yeah.
And I'll do everything that
I trusted my own abilities. I trusted the fact that I got a work ethic. I'd got a decent left foot, and I wanted to be there. I wanted to play football. It wasn't like, because you see some lads who just toss it off all the time, don't you, and don't want to be bothered. We had a couple of lads who come from bigger clubs like Liverpool and Man United, and just turned up to our place. Obviously, shit training ground, training at Catterick, windy as hell. They've been used to being pampered at wherever they're at. Ed's gone.
Not interested.
Didn't want anything to do with it, and they were on good money then as well at that point. But
So, were there options when you left?
So I got offered from Mansfield and Doncaster, and that's when I went to Doncaster.
Yeah.
Mansfield were offering me a trial and this, that, and the other, and Donny offered me a contract there, and then straight away, so that's why I went to
That's
Donny.
it.
I'd got a young kid and another one on the way, so it was more then about a bit of security, a bit of family security.
And
Mansfield. Sorry.
not on about figures, but where's your Doncaster money compared to the money you've just left at Darlington?
It's probably about half at that point.
Right. So the 75% that you could have got offered at Darlington would have still been better than the 50% at Donny.
Yeah. Yeah.
Full time.
Yeah,
With this
still full time. They just bought the new training ground because they just got the new chairman in, John Ryan and Peter Wetzel, I think it was. They put some money in. They bought a new training ground at Cantley. They brought dietitians in from Man United and all sorts. So they were trying to do it, and obviously look where they've gone now. They've done it right. They've gone step by step and improved and put a stadium together that they know they can fill when things are good, and they know that they can sustain when things aren't so good. So they went the opposite side to Reynolds, really. He built something too big and didn't have the fan base for it, whereas Donny have always had a nucleus of, I don't know, between 6,000 and maybe 15,000 on good season, bad season.
He's class him, isn't he, John Ryan? Best chairman I've played under.
Yeah, it was brilliant. He looked after everybody, pre-season trips away and everything, hotels, decent hotels, wine, food and everything. You know, like just tried to look after everybody and tried to do it the right way.
You weren't there when he brought himself on, were you?
No, I wasn't. It was a year after.
It was a league game, wasn't it?
Yeah.
The league game?
League game. Mini cell sub.
What? So he's
How old would he have been then?
Oh, he's got to be in his 50s.
he's registered himself with the FA as a player.
He came on, yeah.
Yeah.
Fuck
Came on in injury time or something like that. Late on.
It might not have been a league game. I don't know. I might be telling a lie, but he definitely came on.
Yeah, he did.
I remember seeing him in his kit.
Straight with it.
Derby,
Tight.
That is
tight.
that is playing proper football manager. That, isn't it?
Yeah.
I'm making myself sub.
Yeah.
How did you do?
Didn't like it with his
As
back to goal.
expected.
We're all right finishing. Back to goal, no good. Put him at fucking left back.
You were all right then. But he'd done all the initial sort of cosmetics, hadn't he, back in 90s.
Into plastic surgery, weren't he?
So we'd done all page 3 models and that, and we ended up having this shoot with Daily Sport. So all these models have come in.
But that was shit.
Well, married lads, you could see them because they were stood at back going, and all single lads are up front. Because they had them all in bath and everything.
I know a man would have been right at the front. A tit in each hand.
Yeah, married lads have got all the ankles.
Yeah, that bottom end. Fucking hell. I can't believe it fetched yourself on.
Yeah.
How did you fit in? Get on with the lads straight away?
Yeah, they were all right. Donny, obviously, Snodden's brothers were managers at the time, so they were big into more of an old school mentality, getting everybody together, team spirit, good crack. So Fridays, 5-a-sides, they'd have a coaching staff 5-a-side against players, and it was non-contact kind of thing, but they'd have a good laugh with everybody. But then, obviously, when it came to Tuesdays and Saturdays for games, that's when you saw the other side of them too, with regards to, well, Ian particularly, with going mental at people for doing things wrong and the way he wanted to see the game. And like you said earlier, maybe players who had got lesser ability than he'd got, he found it frustrating to be managing them, even though we'd got lads who dropped out of the league to play. And he's the funniest one from our point of view. I'm playing left back. So at that point, you've got either a left midfielder or left wing back, as we will, or you get your centre forward to come in front to shield it. So you've got 2-on-1. Dino Mamre is playing up front for us. Gets in at half time. Dino, I fucking told you need to get back in front and mark in front. No, gaffer. I don't fucking do that. I fucking centre forward. I score goals. I don't fucking defend. Lot's gone up. Table's gone up. Jaffa Cake said, fucking these, what are you lot doing? He's flipped on him. Fucking get out my dressing room. Because obviously at that point he's told him to do a job and he's like, don't want to do it. Yeah. So he flipped on him at that point. I mean, Dino was a good player, to be fair. He could do it, but he didn't want to do the defensive side of it. So he wasn't happy with that.
I had him as my assistant manager at Newport, and he fucking can't half talk fast, can he? Is he Maltese or something?
Yeah, you'd think he were Welsh with my accent that I've just done, but yeah. Yeah, he's Tunisian.
Tunisian.
Is it Burton now, isn't it, with Jimmy Floyd? That's
Yeah.
He's assistant on there.
Looks well and all. I saw him with his top off the other day. There's a fucking frame on him.
Fitness freak.
Is he?
Yeah.
Wesley's assistant, weren't he? So you can imagine.
How was Wignall when he came in?
He was a strange character. His opening gambit to a dressing room full of people that, most had played league football, but we'd got 3 or 4 in there that had played serious league football. So we'd got Mark Atkins, Premier League winner, Mike Newell, same. Steve Nicol, I think, was still there for about a month of it. I think Chez had just left at that point, but he's walked into the dressing room, and obviously the club are trying to go places, they're trying to do something right. And I think he'd only been at Colchester. I don't think he'd been anywhere massive. And he's come straight into that dressing room and said, right, he said, things are changing, system's going to change, the way you work, the way you do things and everything. He said, I don't know fucking one of you, but you'll all know me. And everything, you can see eyes go around, everybody looking. And I wasn't thinking about me, because I'm thinking, well, OK, it's a new manager. But you're looking at the dressing room and thinking, there's Premier League winners in this dressing room, and you've just absolutely slaughtered them. You've ripped into them. So you could see straight away everybody's back rub. Then obviously he disappears out of the dressing room, we all have a meeting, we're all talking. Who the fucking hell's he think he is?
How to lose the dressing room in 10 seconds.
Yeah.
See, if I'm Akko or I'm Mike Mule, I'm going to see him the next day with my Premier League medal on.
Yeah, turning up.
Turning
with
up.
it on.
Yeah. What do they call him, manager?
Steve Wignall.
Mr. Wignall, just want to let you know that that's a Premier League winner's medal, that, mate.
Yeah.
You prick.
Yeah.
That's fucking so disrespectful, it's untrue, innit?
Yeah.
Even if you think it.
Yeah.
Like, no.
And what was he like as a manager?
Well, we all changed his name. You liked him as a centre forward. We changed his name to Stevie Diagonal, because that's all you had to do as a full back. You had to get ball down and ping it to the second striker, right back. And all you'd be doing is switching sides and knocking it down for somebody. So we nicknamed him Stevie Diagonal, because that's all he wanted to do. There's nothing else, no football, no... Just bypass midfield, in effect. Midfield were just runners to help us out back there or get forward and help them out up there, and it was shocking. It was terrible. And obviously he then eventually got the bullet, which was quite right, and then Dave Penny and Akko took over, and that was great then, because obviously things changed into a different mentality.
He was manager when I went on loan. It
Yeah.
was the first... I came from Sunderland and first tasted what it's like to be a footballer, really. Game on the Saturday. And I think we won our first game, so we give us Monday off. And you come in Tuesday, don't you, knowing that you've got Wednesday off. We went around Cantley Woods, run our bollocks off. Right, lads, see you Thursday. And I was like, this is fucking brilliant. You've been trained one day. But it was just that
I think that
life of a footballer. I loved it.
he expected you to look after yourself in between it as well. So obviously they were, back then, they'd probably still have a Monday club or a Wednesday club, or Tuesday after training they'd go out and get pissed, so they'd know that then you were going to be doing some running the next day, wouldn't you? But at that point, then they expected you to be serious with looking after yourself properly and not getting pissed on your days off and things like that. And I think it was changing at that point, even at that level. I think people were having to take it serious, because half at conference at that point had gone full time. You couldn't toss it off and turn up. And I've had 2-3 days on pissing week. It started to get serious then at that point. With them.
Definitely wasn't serious when I went.
Was it not?
The lads that he brought in, nah. Say no
And
more.
would the majority of the squad step up to that? Could you see?
Yeah, once obviously it was more the chairman's remit than the manager, but obviously they had to carry it on. So all the routine changed with before training, after training, massages, eating, what you were eating. They brought all these people in from Man United, because he was a director at Man United for a bit, John Ryan, wasn't he? So he got used to a few people over there, so we brought them over, and that's when all that changed. And you could see the fitness in some of the lads. We'd got I don't know what they were called, but we used to call them Chuckle Brothers.
I've had them.
Because it was to you, to me, because you do one session with them and then it'd be over to the other one.
I'm telling you, I've had Chuckle Brothers. The foreign name, aren't they?
Yeah. I can't remember what the name
fucking
was.
hell. I've had Chuckle Brothers.
But they were ahead of
This
the
is the
time.
same people.
Yeah.
I'll juggle sand.
I reckon it will be.
They both got like a foreign name.
Yeah.
Right? And this is how fucking mad it were back in the day. So my first pre-season with Nigel Spatman at Barnsley, it was the first one on the watches and the heart rate monitors. Right? So you had to be between a certain level. So say 160 and 170. Right? So if you got to 180, you then got to slow down. Right? So obviously the more unfit you were, the quicker you got to 180, you got to slow down. That's fucking sports science for you. So that's why they're called the Chuckle Brothers.
Yeah. Because one to do like plyometrics and then you go over and then you do your hard running.
Want to have a tash?
Yeah.
That was
Tell you.
Yeah, Barry. That was Barry, that one.
They're both fantastic.
I'm fucking telling you, it has to be the same Chuckle Brothers.
It was, because and to be fair, I think a lot of their stuff was around Yorkshire. I
Yeah.
don't think they went much further afield, so they came in. So Chuckle Brothers, right, over to you. Yeah, to you.
I've had them. Just to on the end of that story, we didn't win a game for the first 10 and Spatman got sacked. We were unfit as fuck. Did you get a
club car at Donny?
No, got my own car at Donny. So when I left, I basically got 8 months left on my contract. So this was like, got 6 months left on my contract. In like November time, this contract's up in April. I'd not been playing. Tim Ryan had started the season, then he got injured, or started pre-season. So I thought, I'm struggling to get in here with Wignall. And then Tim got injured. So at the start of the season, I played first 15 games, scored 3 goals from left back, left side, centre half. So you're thinking, now's a good time to go and have a knock on door. I've got a kid, got another one on the way. Can I sort my contract out for next year? No, usual script, we're not going to sort it out till April time. And I'd been offered a job as a sales rep working for a plumbing and heating firm in Donny. And obviously I've got a couple of interested parties from the part-time clubs in conference. So I'm thinking, well, I can get some security now. I know I've missed my chances for them couple of moves. I'm not going to get up to that level. Now I'm sort of 25, 26, coming up to 27. So I'm thinking I'll end up going non-league, getting a job and get some security for my family and everything. So the day I left Donny...
Do you think you'd have made the same decision if you'd not had a little one other than the one on the way? You know, like, say, if you'd have... No, if you would have been kid-free, you think you might have thought, fuck it, I'll stick it out a bit longer?
Yeah, because
it's responsibilities, isn't it?
The word scratching around at that level is wrong, because it's decent level of football compared to what everybody plays with the mates and all that kind of stuff. So I'm not decreeing that, but I think from my point of view, in my head, I'd missed the chances. I've got the kids, and I'm thinking, well, I can't come to April and not have a job. What am I going to do then?
Yeah, it's not like you're 21, 22 still, is it? You know, you get to a point where it's like,
right,
now come on.
And if there was just me and my missus and the house, then you could live with that. But when you've got, like you say, more responsibilities, and to be fair to both my missus and my dad, they said, look, don't even speak to us about it. It's not like going from Sheffield United to Sheffield Wednesday or to somewhere, or it's going from playing full-time football to working properly. And like you've just said, the lifestyle, when you're playing football, the training, the days off, it's just a great life, isn't it? Not whether you're getting paid 50 quid or 50 grand a week. It's just a great time, great thing to do. Not many people can say they've done it. Everybody wants to do it who's involved in football as a fan. So it was a big decision to think about coming out of it. So on the point I'd made the decision, obviously all the lads found out. So I've gone in to collect all my stuff from the dressing room, and managers pulled me in. Obviously he must have been in on it. And the lads have got my car keys and gone outside. And Donny, where Old Ground used to be, there was a massive car park out front, and part of the stand jutted out a bit. So they took the car out around the other side. They've opened the sunroof, got hose pipe and sprayed everything in, fairy liquid, trees, branches, the lot. My car were at absolute fucking tip. So I've come out at meeting, I've got my bag on thing, I've gone to lads, right, see you later, lads, see you later. And they all scurried off. I'm thinking, that's a bit strange. Like, they've all said bye, but not like anything else. So I've gone outside. Where's my fucking car? So they're all up in stand looking out at windows like that, pissing themselves because my car's outside, there's bubbles coming out of it and the trees and everything. So that was my farewell present with the car. It took me about 3 weeks to get it clean properly.
I think I'm half age in there.
I know.
Yeah.
I'm leaving football for start a proper job and my car's fucked.
It smelled nice. Very liquid.
Yeah, well, going to the job then, I was a sales rep, so luckily I got a company car so I could leave my car and get it cleaned out and everything. But yeah, it just took the gloss off leaving and finishing football. It stopped me being in tears driving away thinking, right, I'm finished with full-time football.
You're pulling twigs and bubbles out instead.
Yeah, just blowing bubbles out.
See, that's like, obviously, we've had like players on from all different levels. That's like proper serious decision in it.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? It's not like moving from one club to another. It's just a serious decision to leave full-time football.
Yeah, definitely. Because, like you said before, I think if I'd not got children, and maybe if I wasn't married, if you're single, it's even easier, but even if I was just married with no kids, I would have carried on and took the risk of getting a contract that next year or moving to another club for another contract, but not with the kids on the way. You just got a bit serious at that age, sort of mid to late 20s. And again, talking about Steve Wignall being as he was, the only thing he'd said to me at the time was, from your point of view, I think you're making the right decision. Not that he thought I was shit at football or anything like that. He said, you could carry on playing football till you're 35, no problem, because you're decent enough at football. But you're always going to be on year, 2 year, not massive money. He said, a lot of people will wait till they're 35, and then what do? They've not got anything. You've got an option. Somebody's given you an option and given you an out. If I'd not got the out, I'd have stayed there.
Yeah.
But I'd been given the out, which I was thankful for, and that was great. So Friday, training at Donny. Saturday played for Northwich. Monday back at work.
Was that the most you ever earned?
At Donny?
At that time, no. When you fell out of thingy, fell out full time,
Yeah.
you got the job, you're playing. You see playing for 2 teams.
No, I'm working for Polypipe on a salary, and then I'm playing at Northwich in conference. And Northwich had offered me a signing-on fee, which was great. Again, paid in 3 instalments on, are you going to get it? You never know. But yeah, I got it all from them. And the wage then from them wasn't that much different to what I was getting at Donny. Because Donny were just trying to, they weren't going stupid with the money at Donny, they were just bringing people from the league that would come. So the money that I went to Northwich on was very similar to what I was on. So I got the same money from football, but it was, obviously then it was cash in hand back then at that. And then I got a job as well. So my football money then was my pin money, was me mess about money.
Yeah.
The breaking point for the decision there is, because if it's just a life decision that I've been offered a job earning more money, it's a no-brainer, isn't it? Oh, I'll go and do that job. But it's the fact that you're in football and you're a young lad, as many of us are, growing up. You're giving up on the dream, aren't you?
Yeah.
Essentially.
Yeah.
That's the breaking point of making that decision.
And you look at what age do you do that? What age do you stop chasing the dream?
Yeah.
You know, if you're 22, you think, right, keep going.
Yeah.
Then you get to 26, 27, you're like, right, come on.
See that that decision that you've made there, that would make me now even more frustrated with Darlington for not taking the Preston or Chesterfield.
Yeah.
That I'm even more frustrated now, because if you move to Preston they're in the Division 1.
Yeah, Division 1.
Division 1. So you'll go there for 3 years, then you're now 26, 27. Now you can come back down to a Darlington or Doncaster.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So the fact that you never got that move probably cost you 3 or 4 years professional football.
Yeah.
And on top of that, you're 3 times your money.
Yeah, and whatever else is along the way.
So I'm fucking furious. I'm furious for you.
Yeah, I mean, I was furious at the time, but you get older and I've lost my parents now, so that kind of outweighs anything that goes off with football and life and everything like that. But I was gutted at the time. Of course I wanted to go to Preston or go to Chesterfield. Either would have been fine. No problem. But I'm not bitter about it now, because it's just...
It's life, isn't it?
It's life. It's one of them things. But yeah, back then I wasn't happy.
I think there's a big difference of looking back in hindsight and saying the decision that you'd make were in the moment. It's completely different.
So would you shit on his desk? Now you know that story.
In hindsight,
now you know that story.
I'm
Will you
dropping
shit on his
trow.
desk?
I'm dropping trow.
Right. So there you go. And I realised that very quickly in football. That's why I shit on his desk.
Yeah.
How did you find working full time and playing?
I think the biggest thing for me, we obviously it's big now, is the mental side of it. I still, even though I'd gone back to work and playing in conference part-time, I'm still in the back of my head thinking, if I keep fit and I stay fit and I still keep doing all right, somebody might come back for me and I might take the chance again. If somebody comes in and says, right, you're on non-contract where you are, we'll give you a contract and we'll give you 2 or 3 years. And so in the back of my head, that kept me going to keep playing. But mentally, it was a struggle going part-time, because I'm then working 9 to 5 and travelling up and down country in conference, doing same journeys as what you were doing before with Donny, playing against full-time sides, but I'm working day as well, as were most of all our lads, obviously.
Yeah. So what was your job quite... what time did you train on a night then?
Well, that was the other thing. So we'd being a sales rep, some of it was fairly flexible, so I could make my appointments. So let's say on a Tuesday and a Thursday when we were training, I'd make last appointment 3 o'clock, so I could go home, get my bag, have half an hour, have some food, then go meet lads to travel and train out over in Northwich.
That makes a big difference, doesn't it?
Yeah. So you've been working all day, driving around up and down country. My area with North East up to Newcastle, sort of down to Derby. So I could have been anywhere in that patch on that day. I'd try and plan it that was fairly local if we'd got a game or training, but it didn't always work that way, because if you got the call, you had to go. But yeah, then let's say on a Friday afternoon, let's say we played, I think it was Barnard we played away, the bus was going down, they'd arranged for us to go down and go overnight, which was, for a part-time side, was unheard of, but in the conference they were trying to do it right. So I'd have to meet the bus, and I'd have to take half a day's holiday to go meet bus. Take the afternoon off.
See, that's where it's so, like, the levels are just outrageously different, aren't they? You're still doing the same job, and you've got to do all that to go and play on a Saturday.
Yeah. But one of my mates asked me, he said, why do you still do it? and we played this particular game. And at that point, football's not about money. It's nice to get paid for it. That's great. The reason I still carried on playing at that level was because I still got paid for it. I would have been playing with lads in the park on a Saturday afternoon, so my pay packet come out. But that's why I do it now. I've got a job that's got my salary. This is now because if I didn't do this, I'd still be playing and getting lumps kicked out of me with lads.
I'm paying a £5.
Still be doing it
I'm
for
paying
love.
£6, yeah.
You'd be doing it for love of it.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Yeah. So why wouldn't I carry on playing?
Yeah.
And carry on as long as I could.
Did you continue playing, another 8 years part-time?
Yeah, I finished when I was about 34, 35. I did my cruise ship the year before, and that's the only time, when you talk about leaving footballers and making a conscious decision. I went into the hospital in Sheffield, and he told me that I'd done my cruise ship, because at that time I didn't know. I went back out to the car, and that's when I sat in the car crying my eyes out, because I thought, that's me done with football. Full-time, part-time, any football, that's me done.
So it was the end.
Yeah.
Despite you working and playing part time and getting up and
mentally that proper fucked me.
It was just the fact.
It was the fact that it was. You knew it was over then.
Thankfully,
No
it happened
matter
at
what
34,
level.
35. It didn't happen at 24, 25, and you have that. I know you can, and I did carry on, and I'm still playing now with over 45s, but it's not the same. I knew that then I was finishing. I was going to have to knock it on the head with the part-time football. So I was still playing at Belper at the time. I'd come from Alfreton. And I was on a contract at Belper because I'd come from a decent level, so it was all right. Come back from the injury, and they pulled me in and said, look, we can't afford to pay you that contract because of what's happened, and fair enough. So the money got dropped there. I carried on for another 6-8 months, but, in the back of your mind, you just know, right, I'm done now. That hurts, and that's not
That's
great.
the thing I think that we disregard a little bit when we talk about players finishing is, because we always talk about the money and everything else that surrounds it, but everybody's there's a love for it as well, isn't there? And like you're saying, you're playing part-time and you've been told it's over and you're sitting in the car crying. Like, that's it, that's the end of me playing the game that I enjoy playing and love playing from
Well, I
a
knew
young
I'd
age.
got, obviously, I don't know, best part of somewhere between 6 to 12 months, depending on how your recovery goes, out completely.
Yeah.
And at that age, it takes a lot longer to recover, doesn't it? So I think that's what hit me, that I'm not going to play at a decent level of football again. Even I think it was Conference North at the time. So it's just one of them things where you think, I'm done with that side of things now. And then 2 years later, I still carried on playing for over 35, and still somebody phones you up. Do you fancy a game of cricket, golf, tiddlywink, squash, anything? When you sports your life. And now I struggle if I've got work and I've got no sport in a week of anything. Mentally, I struggle with that because I just want to do something. I want to be active. I want to play sport. So if somebody phones and says, "You having a game of golf? You having a game of cricket?" Yeah, fucking too right I am. Just one of them things. And it's not necessarily about being competitive. It's not necessarily about the cricket's about the dressing room. The football's over 35 is still about being back in the dressing room. Because even though we're all from all different walks of life, there's still the same thing on a Saturday. You're still taking the piss out of each other. Somebody's made a mistake. Somebody's scored a good goal. Somebody's shanked one in that they didn't mean to. It's still the same environment. It's still that. So I think that's why I go back to it, as most people would.
Loving the process.
Yeah. Meeting a few
around
lads for a
everyone.
beer is the same sort of thing. You're all having a crack, having a good laugh.
Yeah.
So I'll still play all sport whenever I can until I can't.
How's your knee now?
It's all right. It was after the operation, I played...
Who paid for the operation?
I'd got private healthcare through work. So again, that was... The club wouldn't have paid for it.
That's what I mean.
Because I was non-league.
Yeah.
So thankfully, where I was at work, they'd got private healthcare. So...
The PFA would have helped you, I reckon.
Yeah, PFA would have done, yeah. And they have helped me after that with job and everything, which I went on to do after. But when the injury happened, I got in touch with football club, because obviously you played, as you've done it, you're playing for them. Obviously at that level, there's not much involved. They'll pay for a scan here and there, but nothing major. So I used company policy for that. So thankfully that went...
By the way, the PFA get a bad rep, and I think I've spoke bad of them a few times, but my granddad played in the league for Hartlepool, obviously years and years ago, and he was 70. When he hit 70, he was struggling to walk.
Yeah.
PFA paid for a stairlift for him.
There.
Yeah.
That's good.
Like thousands.
Yeah.
I think every player's got like a pot that they can dip into for stuff.
Yeah, there's like a benevolent fund or something, but it's based on your circumstance, I think, innit, what you
I
get
don't know.
and everything. But I then retrained 3 or 4 years ago as a financial advisor, and I got in touch with the PFA then to say, look, I'm changing jobs. There's a course come up. I think the course was about $7,500. Is there anything available for me to retrain? And I think they paid for half the course. The company that I went to work for paid for the other, and the PFA paid for the other half. So that was
Fair enough.
spot on. couldn't fault. It's the only time I've asked for anything from him. I know a couple of lads who've come on hard times in the past and got some debts cleared and bits like that, and they've paid for that. Not massive amounts, but I don't know anybody that's had a really bad rep from the PFA, but I know some, like you say, some people talk ill of them at times, but I can't say anything.
Yeah. That chairman will be getting a stir lift when he played his one game.
He's done to him all the time, John Ryan.
And he had it in his contract, he had to be ice paid.
Yeah.
What a legend he is, man. He only signed me at Donny because he loved me dad. My dad
Did he?
finished at Donny. He only played 6 or 7 games, but I think he scored a fair few.
Yeah.
And I don't know who came. It might have been Mickey Walker and Pens came to watch us in the reserves, but they had to get the okay from the chairman for the wages and stuff. And as soon as he found out I was my father's son, he was like, "Yeah, get him in." Never seen his play or whatever. He went, yeah. Still goes on about my dad to this day. Every time I see him, "How's your dad?" He played 6 games.
Not even kidding. If it were a proper league game, John Ryan's in the PFA. He's a fully fledged PFA member.
Did you know about it? Do you know if it was a league game? In fact, I'm going to Google it.
I think it was a league game.
He's in the Guinness Book of Records as being the oldest footballer to appear for a professional British club.
In the league.
52 years and 11 months in a conference national match.
So it was a proper game then, wasn't it?
Yeah, against Hereford. Played well.
And if he's listening, to this, he'll be getting a stammer fitted next week.
He just outpriced his senator to move. I'm going to offer you a 3-year, John. How much do you want? I'll have that, please, Chairman. No, I'm sorry, John. Just sat in a room talking to himself.
He was just so passionate. Did you ever have much crack with him?
Yeah,
he just loved it.
He came away on pre-season trip. We went up to Scotland and everything. So he got, like most chairmen, try and stay a little bit away from lads, don't they? But he was just wanting to talk to everybody, get to know everybody, and like you say, finding out about people and what makes them tick. And
every game, before the game and after the game, we go around and shake everybody's hand, regardless of the performance or anything. All these chairmen that we hear about, absolutely class.
You enjoyed that 8 years part-time. Did you come across any of the what we call big hitters that maybe have dropped down in that time? And
yeah, there was obviously a few players that had dropped down that you played against and everything like that. But I think the biggest one really was Gazza when he was manager at Kettering. He was got loads of players on loan from Tottenham because obviously using his connections to get that. We played away at their place. We got dicked 5-1. They were far better than us, obviously, the players that got on loan. But the memory from that was that Kettering used to have to walk past the manager's office to get out to the pitch from the away dressing room every time you went out. So when you arrived, put your bag down, go out onto the pitch, come back, kits out, warm up. And there was a bottle of, I don't know if it was whiskey or brandy on the table. And every time we walked past, a quarter of the bottle had gone. Next time. So by the time we went out for kick-off, gone completely. This bottle's gone. And he's come out of his office as we're lining up in the tunnel and gone into our dressing room to try and find a toilet and couldn't find it. So he's off his rocker, motoring around. And we'd all took stuff in his bags to get signed, shirts, books and everything like that. And Akko was assistant at the time. He said, whatever you do, don't do it before the game. Got a job to do first, which we didn't do very well. But after that, no problem, get it all sorted. And after the game, obviously, he's coming, he's buzzing. They've won 5-1. But he's in his suit, and showers are old-fashioned showers, coming in from one side to the other. Unlucky lad, slurring his words and everything like that. Straight into the shower, he come out, he was wetter than me. His suit was just drenched and everything. He didn't know where he was at all.
Was she good at the old fucking, press the shower button by mistake?
No, we're all in the showers. He's walked down the middle of us all, shaking his hand in shower.
In shower?
In showers.
Sad, isn't it?
He's come to shake everybody's hand in dressing room. We're all looking, thinking, we don't want to see this.
Yeah. That's not me
and
hands, Paul.
Yeah. He was a proper player.
Yeah. I was like that when we met him.
Yeah.
It felt like it's just sad.
What's his that? Because he's that pissed, he's come into the shower and not bothered the fact that he's getting wet and he's still shook your hand.
Probably didn't know, and he obviously must have known he was getting wet, but mentally he was just unaware of it. He was buzzing the 1-5-1 coming in just to shake everybody's hand, and we're all stood there going,
jeez, man. It's sad, isn't it?
Yeah.
Hope he's in a better place now. I've not heard much.
Nah, it's gone quiet, hasn't it?
The thing is, if you've not heard much, it's probably good
Yeah.
yeah.
with him.
Yeah.
Because there's always somebody with a phone wanting to take a picture of him in a state, isn't there? And it's bad news for him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You got any regrets then?
After today, not shitting on that desk where
Yeah,
you'd be
not
going
sitting on desk. I'll try that one next time. I think the only regret from my side is that I didn't do more to force one of them moves through at the time, or try to force it through, because that would have, like you say, might have only been another 2 or 3 years. They might have dumped me at the end of that. But at that point, you still think you can play football. You still think you can carry on. You still think you can. Another move will come along. There's other people watching and all that kind of stuff. You don't know it's going to be the last somebody coming in for you. You don't know. But I think other than that, no. I've enjoyed football. I enjoyed playing pro, semi-pro, and now with over 35s and over 45s, although some of them 35-year-old lads can run around a bit quicker than me now. But, no, I don't regret any of it.
So you're more than happy with the decision you made to leave full-time to part-time and work and all that?
Yeah, I think all things being equal, the situation that I was in with the family and life to think about moving forward, was I going to get offered, in my head, was I going to get offered that job again in another 5, 6, 7, 8 years? Maybe not. Yes, there's other jobs around, but I knew that job was a decent job. It would allow me to play semi-pro football because it wasn't office-based 9 to 5. There was some flexibility in it because I was travelling up and down the country, so I could arrange appointments and then shoot across motorways to get to wherever I was going. So I think that was the right decision for the job and for the football. The big decision was actually walking into the office and saying, "Yeah, I want to leave."
That's it, I'm done.
And I'm not leaving for another club, or I'm not shitting on your desk to go and get moved through. I'm leaving because I'm making the conscious decision to leave full-time professional football. But I don't regret it now. Not because of anything other than the fact that I had belief in myself. I'd obviously played enough games to know that I could play at that level, and I could play at a higher level if somebody took the chance. But I think for my family and everything that went off, it was the right thing to do at that time.
That's fair enough, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Not
Fair enough.
content with it.
And if any young footballers out there trying to get a move, just get fucking shitting on desks. Honestly, I want to see it. I want to see it in a paper.
Why have you done that, son? Parky said.
Well, I've been listening to this podcast, and he said it'd be the best way to get out of this football club is to shite on your desk, chairman.
They'll all be going. I'll be going in contract negotiations with bog roll and a paper. And
I enjoyed that. Yeah, thank you very much for that, mate.
Cheers,
Top man.
fellas. Thanks a lot.
really appreciate it. Cheers.
Couldn't find a picture of John Ryan.
There will be
There is
one somewhere.
There is one, I'm telling you.